Shalom, shalom. Before we begin, we want to give all praises, power, glory, and thanks to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders, the prophets, the apostles, the wise men, our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Salutations to the hopeful elect that are out there pushing the truth to the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and freedom to do so. To you we say shalom. Today's lesson is about Daniel 7, and we're going to basically bridge it together with Revelation 17. And, we're going to go through Nebuchadnezzar's dream and tie that into the 10 horns. So I'm going to let Brother Pierce start it off. Go ahead, bro.
All right, shalom. So we're starting off in Daniel 7, the vision of the four beasts. In the first year of Belshazzar, the king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and the vision of his head while he was in his bed. Then he wrote down the dream, telling the main facts. Daniel spoke, saying, I saw my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven. These four winds, interpret like angels. There are angels that hold back the four winds, which are the terror of Yahweh. Which you actually look up. If you actually look this up, there are actually four winds that are actually named by particular angels of the Bible. We're stirring up the great sea, and for the four beasts that come about the sea, each different from another. 4. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings, and watched till his wings were plucked off, and it was lifted up from the earth, and it was made to stand on 2 feet like a man, and a man's heart was given to it. So we know this first beast that was in Daniel's vision is talking about Babylon, and it's talking about the start of the mystery school of Babylon, which is basically that period of time, basically in the beast, and it's talking about the 1 second. Then I'm jump to 5. And 5, and suddenly another beast, the second beast in Daniel's vision, like a bear, it raised up on one side and had 3 ribs, and in his mouth it had, between his mouth and his teeth. And they said thus unto arise, devour much flesh. So this second beast, like a bear, he's talking about. This is the so-called of the Mede or the Persian Empire, or what you call today Iran. And this was approximately around 55-59 BC, from around 331 BC. And if you want to get an understanding of where that is today, it would be around modern day Iran, Egypt, Turkey, and parts of Afghanistan, Pakistan, that area. 6. After this I looked, and there was another like a leopard, which had a back with four wings of a bird, and these beasts also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. So these 4 heads and this beast like a bird, this is talking about Greece, and those 4 heads that were given dominion is talking about the 4 empires that came out of Greece, or Alexander the Great, which was, if you want to get understand, is basically the similar territory of like Egypt, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and parts of Afghanistan, and some parts of the Mediterranean. But there were 4 main empires that came out of Greece, and that's what they're talking about when they're talking about those 4 horns that emerged in verse 6. And also another thing I want to touch on is also how Alexander the Great also took over more than those parts of just Syria, Egypt, Libya, Turkey, to saying he also took over the entire world, because it was prophesied that he would take over that much land. Like he actually took over a lot of parts of North and South America, and China too, because there's relics in history to show that. So verse 7. After I saw this in the night visions, behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, exceedingly strong. It had a huge iron teeth, and it was devouring, breaking pieces, trampling in residue with his feet. And it was different from all the beasts that were before it. It had 10 horns. So these 10 horns, just like we were talking about in Revelation 17, 12 through 14. And I'll read it again just to get clarification. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which receive no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour and one with the beast. They have one mind. They shall give their power and strength unto the beast, These shall make a war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For the Lord is Lord, the King of Kings, that there are him are called and chosen and faithful. So basically, like we talked about again in our lesson, Revelation 17, those 10 horns are just representing the European or NATO empire that came from Rome or Babylon, which those are Belgium, France, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Denmark, Ireland, United Kingdom, and Greece. So that's basically what those 10 horns are talking about and what that's referring to. And they would have their dominion, or they would have a rule over a short time, but all the dominion and the rule will also be to exalt or to worship the beast system, which is the Roman Catholic system, which is a false deity system. In verse 8, I was considering the horns, and there was another horn, a little horn, coming up among them. Before them there were 3 of the first horns that were plucked up as the roots. But there in the horn there were eyes, like the eyes of man, and the mouth speaking pompous words. So we understand that this little horn is talking about Babylon the Great, or Egypt, or Sodom and Gomorrah, which is also referring to, we're talking about present day America, or we're talking about the structure, the power structure of present day America, which they also lean on Great Britain and also Israel. That's where it's talking about those little horns. But that's what that's referring to. And I'll jump to Isaiah 13, 19 to 20. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans, excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall be the Arabian pitch tent, the Arabian pitch their tent there. Neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. So basically, this is just letting you know that this is talking about forecoming of Babylon, and Daniel had a dream about Babylon, which is today America, and the beast is just talking about their dominion or their rulership over the world, so-called what America has today, their military system or the naval system, everything that they're doing right now. And basically, what I just read was Daniel 1 through 8, and that basically just covers basically the 4 beasts that were in his dream or vision, which is basically just another prophecy of Nebuchadnezzar's dream, which is talking about, it's talking about the iron, the brass, and that was just depicting the different empires and over time. And people just got to get an understanding that Yahweh kind of repeats itself, and he kind of wants you to get this idea in your head so you can understand the rulership and the kingdoms and how things fall into place. But I'll give it off to Brother Darren, so he'll jump into verse 9.
All right, so I'm in verse 9. And it says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. So he's talking about Yahweh. And he's just basically giving him a description of what he looks like. You can get a more description of it, too, in Enoch. I can't remember what chapter. But the book of Enoch gives a bit more description of what the Most High looks like as well. So I'm going to jump to Psalms 58, and I'm going to read verses 10 and 11. And it says, the righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked, so that a man shall say, verily, there is a reward for the righteous. Verily, he is a power that judgeth in the earth. So, I mean, that was just like a quick excerpt to, they go along with verse 9. So back to Daniel 7 and 10. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. 1,000 ministered to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. So that's like plethora. You can't even put a number on that. That's plethora. Mm-hmm. Plethora. The court was seated and the books were opened. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all peoples, nations, and languages shall serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So, just to touch on those, talking about 11, he's just talking about, destroying the wickedness of this world, and toppling down those wicked nations. 12, he's talking about how he had, I wouldn't say, let's see, he had, he spared those individuals. I mean, even though, of course, everybody, the 2/3 of the other heathen nations are going to be like wiped away. In the new world, they're not. The only group or family that's going to be destroyed are the Edomites. So he gave them, more time to live, basically, what it breaks down to. Because you got to remember, Daniel was looking at the future. He just put it in a more poetic way for individuals to understand. So basically, what he's seeing is the fall of Babylon, and he saw, he told you to describe, Yahweh, and then he shows how Yahweh gave dominion over to Yahweh Shai, when he said, I will raise up the tabernacle of David. Well, everybody knows how that one goes. And that's what he's talking about. So if you read, I think in Isaiah 14, when all the nations will come in, in order for them to get into the kingdom, the only way they can get into the kingdom is if they cleave unto Israel and, worship the same. So everybody has to worship and come to Mount Zion to worship, the Most High and according. So basically, the Most High has his own one world dominion, which is worshiping the Most High, just like how, the elites have it. So I'm going to jump to Revelations 20 real quick. I'm going to read verses 11 to 12. And it says, I saw a great white throne and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Yahweh, and the books were open. And another book was open, which is the book of life, and the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. So, basically what he's talking about is judgment. Everybody's going to be judged. It's probably going to be a few, like the 144K, and the rest of the elect that won't be judged because, they've been following the law, statutes, and the holy days. But it's going to be a good amount that's going to be judged, because everybody's going to be judged regardless. And there's, so he's talking about the book of life, and the judgment. Also, the Messiah is here, called the Son of Man. He was made in the likeness of sinful flesh and was found in fashion as a man. But here's the Son of Power. The great event foretold in this passage is Hamashiach's glory is coming to destroy every anti-Christian power and to render his own kingdom universal upon earth. Just like I was reading about, Daniel was just basically talking about what the same prophets are talking about. The only difference between Ezekiel and Jeremiah are the certain parts of it. But if you understand spirituality, they're all the same entity. But I'm not going to get people confused on that one. But the easy thing is the Most High repeats himself. That's how you learn. You learn through repetition. They just might have different parts to tell you, different parts of the story, because everybody's not going to have the same vision and such like that. But he's telling you how it's going to go down. I'm going to pass it to Perry so he can finish on.
All right, I'm going to start from verse 15. Daniel's vision interpreted. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit and within my body, and the visions in my head would trouble me. And I came near those who stood by me and asked him the truth. And all these, and so him told me and made it known to me the interpretation of these things. So basically, he's going around asking for interpretation of his dreams, understanding of what this meant. Those great beasts, which are four kings, which arise out of the earth. Just like we said before, those represent four rulerships or four empires. Verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall receive the kingdom, possess the kingdom forever, and even forever and ever. So just like we said before, just like I had Brother Darian put into that verse in earlier, I had him talking about it. Just really talking about this. This is the Most High's order forever and ever. So just how he has a time for the wicked to have a time to rule and have their dominion. Just like it says, Esau's the end of the world. Jacob is the that follow. Just like it says in Ezra 6:9, 2 Ezra 6:9. So that's what it's talking about. It's talking about the saints, which are the bloodline of Jacob, which are the 12 tribes. They were possess the kingdom forever and ever. Verse 19. Then I wish to know the truth about the four beasts, which was different from all the others. The fourth beast, which is different from all the others. Exceedingly dreadful, which his teeth were of iron and his nails were bronze, which devoured the broken pieces, and trampled residue with his feet. And the 10 horns that were on his head, and the other horn that which come up before, with 3 fell, namely the horn which had eyes in the mouth, spoke pompous words, whose appearance was greater than as follows. Just like we talked about earlier, it's talking about the Roman Catholic Church, or Rome, which Rome sprung and created the Roman Catholic Church, which sprung out and created the European countries, which I just spoke of earlier, which are the 10 horns. And that one horn, speaking out pompously, is what you would refer to Babylon the Great, or so-called today America, where she comes out and she speaks pompously. So that's referring to what they're talking about. In 21, I was watching, and the same horn was making war against the saints. So he's talking about that same horn. He's talking about America or Babylon, which they do right now. Currently, they're making war against the saints and prevailing against them until the ancient days come, to the end days. And judgment was made in favor of the saints and of the Most High. In the time of the order, the saints possess the kingdom. Just like we talking about in the end of the days, that the Most High would choose Jacob, he would choose Israel, who would favor them. And he would show them favor by them following the guides and the laws of the Most High, the prophets, and what they have instilled in us to do in these end times, the laws, statutes, and commandments, following the Sabbath day and the holy days. So, verse 23, thus he said, the fourth beast shall be a fourth kingdom on the earth, which shall be different from all the other kingdoms. It shall devour the whole earth and trample it and break it in pieces. Just like I said earlier, Rome, which was the Roman Catholic Church, they were different from all the other kingdoms. They actually possessed the whole world, just like they do today. If you look at the European native countries, with the help of Babylon, they have control of the entire world. There's really nowhere where they can't get to, where their arms don't reach, their grasp don't reach. If you understand what I mean, they can touch any country and get in there and infiltrate it however they want to. In verse 24, and the 10 horns are 10 kings who shall arise for this kingdom, and another shall rise with them, and she shall be different from the first ones. And it shall subdue the 3 kings, and he shall speak pompously with the words of the Most High against the Most High, and shall persecute the saints of the Most High, and shall intend to change the times and the law, and the saints shall be given into his hand for a time, and times possessed and time and a half. So again, this is giving you prophecy. This is talking about what we're talking about in Deuteronomy 28 chapter, Deuteronomy 28, where it's talking about you would go into captivity by ships. Just talking about Babylon, they possess this, will be given to the saints. That's what it's talking about. Will be found in the hands of the wicked, which is talking about Babylon, the horn that would speak pompous. This is another precept. There's another line to go with that. But 26, but the court shall be seated, and they all shall take away his dominion, and this shall consume and destroy it forever. So basically, they shall have a court, basically where the Most High is a judge and a jury, and he's everything. He's going to make the last decision, and everybody will take away dominion from Babylon and from the final beast, and it will be destroyed forever. Verse 27, and the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdoms under the whole heaven shall be given to the people and the saints of the Most High, which is Jacob's seed line, his bloodline, the elect. And his kingdom shall be everlasting, and all the dominions shall serve and obey him. And in the end of the account, as for me, Daniel, my thoughts are greatly troubled me, and countenance changes. But I keep my matter in my heart. So basically, he's talking about, he's saying that in the end, this is as for me, he's talking about my thoughts are greatly troubled. Like this, all these prophecies coming to him at one time is troubling him, because he's seeing all the wickedness and all the deception, and all the people have to die just for this outcome to happen. But he understands that this is the order of the Most High, and it can't be changed. So he'd keep his matter in his heart to himself. And that's just giving you an understanding of Daniel 7, which a lot of people, it really mimics, and it kind of underlines Revelation 17, 18, and the prophecies of Babylon. And it just gives you a little underlining of Nebuchadnezzar's dream and explain it a little bit deeper. and give you understanding and tap into a little bit of Revelation 20, which we'll do later. It's talking about how the Most High will give the saints the power to fight against the wicked over time and throughout history. And also, I just want to thank everybody for coming in the lesson. I appreciate it. And this lesson was for Brother True. That was out. He asked for the breakdown of Daniel 7. And we'll probably come in here either tomorrow or the day after. We'll have another live. Don't know what it is right now, but we'll get to it. And thank you for coming out. And I just want to close out by thinking I want to give all thanks to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. And also I want to give thanks to the prophets that came before us. And also thank the Aquad. And just, hey, keep fighting, keep praying.